Hey guys, Kristine Windover here, your Superstar Director for Team Wicks Away, and we are on day 29 of Leap to Lead already. Today we're going to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart about a topic that I think is super important to be aware of and work at. It's a never-ending thing to be working on. And it's also something that's just very common, and I would wager a guess that absolutely every single one of us at one point or another struggles with this, and that is comparing ourselves to others. As women especially, we can be very critical of ourselves, and so this just plays into that if we are spending too much time watching what others do. It is good to watch others and learn from them, but we just have to be aware and keep it in check and be careful about the comparing, because when we're comparing ourselves, instead of just being happy for somebody's strengths and success and saying, hey, what can I learn from them and apply to my strengths, that's when we can get frozen or paralyzed with the fear of failure and stop trying new things and being creative and doing the things that are going to grow our business. And you guys know that it's very important to believe in yourself to keep doing this business. And so comparing yourself to others and letting those, Becca Levi calls it the itty bitty icky committee, those little thoughts in our head get in the way of the positive thoughts and start telling us all the negative things about ourselves, then there's no room for the positive thoughts to keep driving us forward with our goals in our business. And so when I was looking up stuff that I could say on this topic, because I thought, well, how do I make a video? I mean, without just saying, don't do it. And I found this blog that shared the 3 secrets to stop doing it. Now, it was a religious blog, so because I don't want us to get into too much of that, because everybody has different beliefs, I will try to adjust it a little bit, but just bear with the fact that they wrote it from a religious perspective. However, it is still it doesn't need to be, I guess, in order to still be a very good lesson. And so the first one, and they did it from a writer's perspective or a story, which was really cool too, because I think that it just spoke to me, because I mean, we talk about this being a journey. We talk about our seasons of life, which is tied into our story, right? Scentsy is part of our story. It's not our whole story, but it's part of our story. And we all have different stories. So we all have different journeys, and we all have different things that are going into it. So in order to stop comparing yourself to others and letting that get in the way, the first tip was, don't compare your chapter 5 to someone else's chapter 20, which was so cool. And what they're getting at with that is saying that in a book, right, there's a buildup of character development and subplots and other things that happen in someone's life. So if you are just sitting back and you're looking at somebody and you're like, man, I wish that I could lead like them and inspire like them, but you didn't live the life that they've lived that maybe drives the way they can inspire people, because they lived the opposite. They lived the hard side so they can inspire the positive side. And so dropping yourself right into their chapter 20 with this envy, it says, it's just, you're losing all that context of what got them to that point. You are in your own story. And so that's why it gets dangerous to compare yourself, because you have no idea what led them to that. The second one said, don't put a period where God has placed a comma. Not comma. So again, you can take God out of that and just say, don't take a piece of your story that should be just a comma and automatically assume that it needs to have a period at the end of the sentence. When there are sentences that are building up to the main part of the story, they have a comma, those lead-in sentences to a chapter. And we make a huge mistake if we decide that sentence is the be-all, end-all of the story. We are holding ourselves back from the greater story that's there, because we tried to be smarter and know what the ending was to the story, I guess is the way they're putting it there. And number 3, savor the chapter that you're in. And this one was huge. And because you have to be happy with where you're at in your life in order to not let it get in the way. If you are spending so much time wishing that you were in a different chapter, you're missing the chapter that you're in, right? It's very simple and straightforward, but it's funny. It's simple and straightforward points and lessons, but it's funny because we all know it's not simple and straightforward to put into practice and to do. And this one was a really big one for me, and the growth that I started to see in myself personally, that then obviously had an effect on my business. People say all the time that having a direct sales business or any kind of entrepreneurial business has this side effect of personal growth, and that's because these trainings that we give, these things that you need to do to grow your business are going to have this like bonus side effect of helping you personally, because you're working on that stuff in all areas of your life. And so, as I mentioned in a couple other videos about the story that I've had, I really hit this point where I had to, if I wanted to continue day to day, if I wanted my business to continue to be successful and to not have to walk away from everything I'd built just because I was divorced, and go back to the old story and working a very stressful job out of the home, I needed to do this personal growth work. And so one of the things was savoring the chapter that I was in, accepting that it was my chapter, my story, my life season, and not letting the comparison to those that were growing faster than me get in the way. And I sometimes it was just a matter of, when I saw those thoughts creeping in, I had to stop them and redirect them and say, okay, but that person that is already a superstar director isn't divorced or doesn't have a child that they're at the doctor for every other week testing for why they're not gaining weight. You don't know their story, but I at least knew that they didn't have my story. Everybody comes from different education and training and the way we were raised and inspired to believe in ourselves. We all live in different regions where people have different disposable income to spend on Scentsy. All of those things. And so that was a huge turning point in my business when I said, okay, I have to be okay with where I'm at. And I need to work my business for that. I need to let go of worrying about losing weight even, because I just don't have the time to focus on that. My kids need me. So worrying about eating diet healthy food, not just I need to eat healthy, but worrying about eating healthy enough to lose weight. I needed to let that go. But I just said, it's just going on the back burner until my life is in a phase where I can focus on that better. And same with my business. I can't do all these things that I'm watching others do that I wish I could do yet, right? That's the big word of the Scentsy training this year with the growth mindset stuff. Yet. I can't do that yet. It just went on the back burner. One of the things I knew, and I could let myself get all, hung up on, man, if I had really tried to grow my social media and learn more about online stuff 8 years ago, where would my business be today? But my life wasn't in a place to do that 8 years ago. But I just put it on the back burner. Now my life is in a place where I can start to grow in that area and learn new things, because I don't want to stay stagnant, and I don't want to just believe that I can't grow and be better. That's the growth mindset stuff. But I also have to accept that I am me, and this is my story, and I have strengths. I have things, like I was saying earlier with the build-up, the story. I can tell this story to you guys. I can inspire people that they can do this as a single mom, because I can authentically tell that story. That somebody else that didn't have that journey can't authentically tell that story. Now they can tell my story because they know me and I share my story, and that's one of the beautiful things about Scentsy too. But basically what I'm saying is I use those things to my advantage as my strengths in how I can do things for my team and grow my business. So that's just the quick little video today, those 3 tips. And one last thing, this kind of ties into your challenge for the day, is one of the things I did when I was at my roughest point. Now again, this was personal life stuff, but it played into my business. I learned it through Scentsy training. I started a gratitude journal, and what that was, it was a gratitude journal, but it was a jar. I decorated up this big mason jar, all Scentsy colors. I had it in my living room. I was just peeking to see if it was quickly easy to grab, because I hadn't thought of that, but it's up in my bedroom. It used to be in the living room. Right front and center, it was there, visible, labeled as, whatever year it was. And the goal, starting New Year's Day, was to write something every day that I was grateful for in my life on a sticky note or on a little piece of paper, and put it in the jar, and read them the next New Year's Eve. And I was doing that because I had done some research in seeing that doing that helped change you out of a negative mindset when you're struggling with depression and stuff like that. And so, like I said, it was a personal thing, but man, did it ever affect my business, because I got myself out of that dark hole and started focusing on all the amazing things that I did have in my life and in my business. And it may start off, the biggest thing with starting this the biggest tip to know is that anything counts. It is your jar or your journal. And so if the only thing you're grateful for that day is that you woke up alive, or you had heat on in your home, or you didn't have to go to work that day, then that's what you write down. There were days where I wrote, a friend messaged me to check in, so I know that I have that person. Or a stranger in the grocery store complimented me on my children's behavior, which was a rare thing when they were little like that. So it stuck out to write that on a sticky note. And it got more intricate and easier to do as the year went on, which was a big part of the lesson for me, because then it had proven itself. The research I had done was proven to me that even when I felt at my darkest and I was like, I'll do this because I know I should try something, but I didn't necessarily believe it was going to work. So once it started working, then I knew that had been what was in my way, was just finding positivity in my life every day. So if you are feeling in your life or in your business like you wish you were better at something else, or you wish you were more like someone else, or you don't think you're good at certain things, flip that mindset around and start focusing on the things that you are good at. So what I want you guys to do today is just comment below one of those things. What are you grateful for today in your business? What are your strengths in your business today? What is one thing that happened to you today that you are grateful for? And I encourage you, I really do challenge you to keep doing that. Try to build it in your notebooks for Leap to Lead, to keep doing that every day and see the difference that it will make over time in quieting that little itty-bitty icky committee in your head that gets in the way and makes you compare yourself in a negative way, when you don't need to be doing that, because you are awesome. You have strengths that nobody else has. You have a story that nobody else has, and so you absolutely have value to offer to the people in your life, to this team, to your customers, your hosts, and strangers you meet day to day. And the sooner that you accept that and believe that and love that, the quicker you'll start seeing the specifics of that and be able to just have it grow and blossom from there. So I love you all. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so grateful. That's my thing. I am so grateful for you guys, because you are the reason I love my job and want to keep working hard every day, because I have people to inspire. And so just showing up and giving me this opportunity to build this program is something that I will always be grateful to you guys for. So we'll see you tomorrow.